Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a video of why I'm vegan, and I'm just gonna kind of talk about how my journey has gone. So basically in the beginning, kind of going back to childhood, I've always loved animals, always had animals, dogs, cats, any like animal like that. Animals, and really liked just like how much energy they have and how carefree and how great they are and how like amazing they are. And as like a kid, I never really thought about like what was being fed to me, like what I had in my food, what did I eat, and things like that. Like vegan was never, I was never heard of vegan, never heard of vegetarian, nothing like that. I just thought meat is what you eat, and cheese and milk and things like that. And then as I like kind of grew up, kind of started questioning things kind of a little bit. Like, I think I saw like a couple like people or like magazines or things online saying like, oh, like I'm a vegetarian, like I don't eat animals and things like that, and I didn't even know that was really a choice. I didn't know that was a thing. So kind of growing up, I kind of always was obsessed with health, everything health, because I was a soccer player. I really wanted to be in shape. I've always wanted to like look good and have like a bikini body and things like that, but it's just hard. It's a struggle, like as most people will tell you, and like no one has like a set diet that works. Like everyone has to work at it, and you have to work at everything you do. So kind of thinking about diet and things like that, I started watching documentaries, especially ones on Netflix, like Forks Over Knives, Earthlings, like all those ones. And it kind of started clicking that like, oh, like vegetables are better for you. So I started eating like way more vegetables, but I still was eating meat even though I watched those things, because living as a young adult, like I was, I don't know, in like high school maybe at the time, middle school at the time, watching those things, when you don't have like money and you don't have control of what parents are buying or like what is fed to you, it's kind of hard to go vegan and be a vegan or like vegetarian when they're buying your food. So like being in college now, it's easy for me to buy those things, and easy for me when I'm living off campus to go to, when I go to the grocery store because I don't have a meal plan, it's easy to go get vegan food and choose to be vegan. But when I was living on campus, I wasn't, like I had the idea of going vegan and things like that, and every once in a while I wouldn't eat meat. But when you go to the cafeteria, like meat and dairy are like in everything, and like there's not many vegan options. There is now, but not before. There was not. So it's just kind of hard going vegan when you are a teenager, when your parents are buying your food, when you don't have money. So that's like one thing that really influenced me, was just the money aspect, and the aspect that I didn't want to cook all my food. When the food was cooked for you, you just eat it. You didn't really question it too much. That's what I did back then. So even in middle school, I was like obsessed with dieting and like eating correctly, exercise. I was really obsessed at the time in middle school of like burning as many calories as I could, even more than what I was consuming, because I was so obsessed with like being fit and being like thin. Like I would have salads at school like for lunch and things like that. Like it was, I don't know, it wasn't the best because I was like burning way more than I was like eating. So that was not, I mean, yes, it is good for weight loss, like burning more calories than you're consuming, but the way I was doing it was not the best, because I was like running and like I would go on the bike for hours, like it was a little too much. But I then, at the time in about 8th grade, I was on 2 club teams for soccer and middle school team, and I was like doing all this at the same time, and I got a fracture this was going into high school, actually. So we would run 2 miles for tryouts, and I was like obsessed with getting like the best time, and like as before I was running all the time, I was eating like really healthy, like I thought I was doing everything correctly. So I did run like a really good time and like did well in tryouts and everything. I got the team. But then like a week or so after tryouts, like I got the fracture. So that was not good. And it was kind of hard, and it kind of made me like reconsider things, because my orthopedic, he told me that getting fractures is like overworking yourself, which is what I was doing, and like not eating enough, and like I was like, oh, I mean, that's what I was doing, so it's probably not good for your body. So because having like nutrients and all those things, I wasn't exactly getting all those things, and I was really pushing my body, and it wasn't good for my body, obviously, because I got hurt. So after that, I think I was kind of like reconsidering things, and kind of like, okay, I need to like reconsider my diet and all this exercise and things like that. So then after that, after recovering and things like that, I started kind of eating whatever. I didn't really care at all. Kind of just eat whatever. I mean, I never really gained a lot of weight. I never really was overweight. I've never been overweight, but I always like was working out. So playing soccer and like running around. Long distance running was my favorite thing to do. So I never was like overweight. I never was like underweight. I never was anything like that. I've always been like a good weight, so it was okay. But I still wasn't happy with my body. Like, I don't think anyone ever really is like, my body's perfect, love it. Like, I guess there are some people out there, but I've never met anyone like that. So, because you're always going to have flaws in your body that you see and not everyone else sees. So, you know. So then kind of going from high school to college, and kind of how transitioning to vegan kind of started out was towards the end of high school. I watched all those documentaries again. I don't know why. I think I'm interested in health. I'm interested in knowing things like that, like knowing what's good for you, what's not good for you. Like, I would do a lot of things. Like, I wouldn't eat a lot of sugar. I still don't eat a lot of sugar. Kind of like stick to natural sugars, and like kind of using less processed foods and having more like nutrient-based foods. So I started watching all the documentaries again and kind of considering like, ooh, this like vegan sounds like a good idea. So there'd be times I would eat like vegan in the morning, breakfast, vegan in like lunchtime, or like different parts of the day. I started using like different recipes from Forks Over Knives, doing little things like that. So I wasn't completely vegan, but I was kind of transitioning into it. So what else? And then like my love of animals. Like I could be outside all day, forever. Like, I love being outside, I love walking around, I love looking at nature, I love anything like that. Hiking, running around in nature, great. I love it. So, kind of taking my love for soccer and animals, when I was looking into colleges, I was really looking at like soccer ones, but then I came to look at Frostburg, and that was like, they had a wildlife and fisheries major, which like really stood out to me, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like I would really like to do that. So like I really stuck with that. I really liked it, so I went there. And then freshman year kind of was like a typical college experience, like a lot of drinking, a lot of just eating whatever. Like I definitely didn't gain like a lot of weight, but I didn't lose weight. Like I would say like my weight's always kind of fluctuated, so I would say I was a little more overweight towards like winter break or so, and kind of going into the summer I was a bit heavier than I would have been before. And that came with like just the drinking and like just eating crappy food on campus because it wasn't the best, and doing things like that. And then in the summer I actually went to a trip in Belize, and going there it was a very like, it was like a biodiversity, like it was like towards like nature and things like that. So it was a really, really fun trip. Like I really enjoyed it. Would definitely go back. And doing that kind of opened my eyes to like seeing this again. Like the environment is such an important thing. And I remember learning like with those documentaries, like being vegan really helps the environment, really is so much better for the environment and for animals and just everything in general, yourself, like others. It's like crazy how much it is good for everything. So I kind of considered it, and then I remember going my sister and her friends to Pride, and like that community, like they're such great people. Like they're amazing people. I love them. And it kind of walking around at like different booths, I remember, and like doing the parade. They would hang out like PETA things, like go vegan, things like that. And then a couple of my sister's friends were vegan, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And my cousin was going vegan too, I remember. So I was like, maybe I should like consider doing that. So I did a lot more research. Like I looked at like everything. Like I looked at documentaries, more documentaries. I looked at books. But really what stuck with me was YouTube, because that was like real life people telling you like, hey, look, this is what I'm eating. Like it's not that hard. Like I always thought it was so expensive to go vegan. I was like, oh, we need a lot of money. But it actually really isn't if you think about it and you really like plan out your meals and like really like look at prices, because certain things, like certain vegan items would not be, I would say, the cheapest thing. But if you look at just like vegetables, if you eat mostly food you can prepare yourself, you're gonna eat so much better than you would eating out, eating like processed foods, anything like that. So the cost could be really big, but if you stock up on everything, like I have oatmeal like almost every day. If you stock up on the things that you eat a lot, then it's going to be so much less expensive, especially like the next times. Like I always go to Costco before I go to school and get like things I eat every day, like beans and rice and quinoa and things like that, and oats. And then I don't have to buy it till like winter break. Like it lasts such a long time. Like you just have to really like plan out things, which I think is a really good thing about veganism, because when you plan out things more, so much easier, so much better for you. Going back on topic, but yeah, so doing more research, YouTube is the best thing for vegans. Like looking at what other people are doing and like, oh yeah, I could do that too. Like it's not that hard once you do it and once you see other people do it. So that really stuck home with me. And then I went on like a trip with my parents and like my family to like the beach. So when I was there, we kind of ate like a lot of seafood, and seafood has always been like my favorite thing. So doing that, I was like, all right, this is like the last time that I'm going to eat this stuff. Like I'm gonna go vegan after this. So then doing that was really good, I think, because I've just like, ever since I've been gone vegan, it was hard in the beginning because I would really like cheese. Like, cheese was so good. But then when I found like nutritional yeast and like there's vegan alternatives, like they were good too, but you need to find like the ones you like. Like, I don't really, Day is okay. It's not the best, but once you find things you like, it goes away, and like those cravings you have in the beginning, like they all fade. You just have to like stick with it. It's okay. Like, happens to everyone. Like I remember once, I think I did go back to cheese a little bit, but then I was like, felt really bad after that. My digestion was awful, and then I just didn't go back since. So, and when like, if I ever go to a restaurant or things like that and has a little bit of dairy or something like that, like it really messes up your digestion like a lot. So that just like makes you go stick with veganism more, and just like learning and constantly remembering all the health benefits, all the benefits for the environment. As a wildlife and fisheries major, I don't know how I could be an environmentalist and not be vegan. Like, I don't get it. Just like knowing all of those things, it really helps you, pushes you forward. And also like finding vegans, like a girl on my soccer team was vegan. I didn't even really think about it until I went vegan. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then kind of like bonding over things like that, it really is amazing. Like, being vegan like is just life changing. Like, it's crazy how much energy I have now, how much like I just feel so passionate about things, and just, it's crazy. Like, I don't even know how to explain it to someone who hasn't done it. Even just doing it for like a day is like so beneficial to the environment and yourself. So I would definitely do it if I were you. So, yep, gonna end her here. So I hope that was a very good video to watch. I know I'm not really in a great place right now. I'm just in my room and I'm tired. So yeah, go vegan.